Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we've got a puzzle by Jesper for you. Now, Jesper is undoubtedly some sort of genius, an absolutely superb solver, and every puzzle I've ever done by Jesper has been a work of sublime, well, elegance and beauty. So I hope that today will be no exception. I can tell you this has a 100% rating on Logic Masters Germany. It's called Deconstruction X Sums, and I think it borrows its rule set from a puzzle we did by Jay Dyer a few weeks ago. So we have seen something like this before, which in theory should be an advantage, but we shall see. Now, a few things to mention today. The first is I want to say a very, very happy birthday to Maximilian Ludvigsson. And I think it's your 30th birthday today, Maximilian, and your friend Per Anderson got in touch to say that you might like a birthday shout out, which we're very happy to do. So I hope you have a super day. I think you're over in Hong Kong at the moment, and yeah, we're just delighted to hear about anybody who enjoys the channel from all over the world. So I hope you get a big slice of cake as usual. Now, what else do I need to mention? Lots. Yes, yesterday I did attempt, and I think I did solve this extraordinary new puzzle by Phistomefel. Let me find it, 1 second. Right, here it is. It's called Slitherlink Liars, and I thought I knew about Slitherlink puzzles. I thought, oh, this won't be that difficult. I didn't realise it's actually a variant of Slitherlink called Touching Slitherlink, which basically takes all of your experience of Slitherlink and throws it out of the window. And then it incorporated liar clues as well. So I'm not that ashamed to admit, the video I have made of me solving this is over 100 minutes long. So it really is one for the cognoscenti, I suppose. I'm sorry my brain couldn't work more quickly, but that video will go up on Patreon as soon as I can edit it, in terms of adding the instructions, etc., and upload it to YouTube. So yeah, hopefully for some of you at least, that will be an interesting watch. Now, what else do I need to talk about? Let me get my list up. There were other things too I need to mention today. Oh yeah, shout out to Sam Kappelman Lines for making my head feel very scratchy yesterday with this little piece of this nugget of information that appeared on our Discord server. Many of you I know have been amused by this. So this arrangement of brackets is not a palindrome, but that arrangement of brackets is. Oh, some of you, I know we have had questions about why this is the case. I tweeted this yesterday, but there is an answer in the tweets if you are stumped by that. I know it looks wrong, but it is true that this is a palindrome and that is not a palindrome. And yeah, it'll make your head hurt. Other than that, what else have we got going on Patreon? There are other things to mention. 1st of April is going to be soon upon us, and that will be, we have prepared the monthly reward. It should be approachable again this month, but maybe slightly more difficult than the last 2 months. So I think 2,000 of you correctly solved this month's challenge. I think it'll be a bit less, but not an order of magnitude less. For April, so remember to look out for that. You've still got 1 day left to get your entry in for Philip Newman's the world's hardest classic Sudoku, our competition. We're going to give a prize for the most comedic answer and the most beautiful logic, so do try and get an answer in for that soon if you haven't finished it already. And what else? There was something else going on Patreon. I can't remember what it was. No, it's gone. It's left me. Is it going to come back? No, it's not. Right, let's just get on with this puzzle. And I'll read you the rules. They are as follows. Right, contained within the grid are 9 non-overlapping 3x3 square regions, which must be located. So that's interesting already, isn't it? This grid is 11 that way. Is it square? Yes. So it's 11 by 11. And we've got to sort of work out where the 3x3 boxes are going to live within this 11 by 11 structure. Each region contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, such that no digit repeats in any row or column. Cells outside regions do not contain digits. clues outside the grid give the sum of any digits in the first x cells from the direction of the clue, where x is the first digit in that direction. So this is like a weird version of x sums. So let's just see if we can understand this. So look at this 17 clue. Let's imagine that there was nothing here, and this clue was a 4. I have no idea if this works. It probably does, but then this would be saying that from this direction, the direction of the 17 clue, look at the first 4 cells. This one doesn't have anything in it, so look at these 3 cells, and these 3 cells would add up to 17. Let's look at another one. Let's look at the 18 down here. Now let's say there was nothing in all of those cells, and then this cell turned out to be a 7. Is that silly? 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that would be telling us those 3 cells have to sum up to 18. I think that's how it's meant to work. It doesn't sound easy, does it? I think it's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty. But do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I'm guessing we start with the zeros, but that might be wrong. We may want to start with the high numbers. Now, what is 0 saying? 0 is saying that... Well, 0 is clearly saying that digit. This is not a digit, isn't it? Because if this was a digit, even if it's a very low digit, it would be the first digit seen from this direction, and it would be including itself in the sum, whatever it was, and it wouldn't be 0. So that cell there is not actually a digit then. But now this could be a digit, I think. If that's now a 1, the x sum is saying take the sum of the first 1 cells from this direction, which is just summing this number, which would therefore equate to a clue of 0. Okay, but I don't think it has to be a 1, because couldn't you do like a big long string of nothingness, and then this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this was a 6, it would be saying the first 6 cells, sum those, and you get 0 again. So yeah, we don't actually know very much more than that this cell is not in a region. And the same must be true of that cell. Now, that one's more interesting, because now I definitely can't put a 3 by 3 above it. If I try and put a 3 by 3 above it, the 3 by 3 will sort of leave the grid and go off it, and that's just not going to work. So those 2 cells must now be blackened. Now what about that 2? Is that 2 going to be problematic? And the answer to that is 2. Yeah, this clue I think is forced. I want to say this cell has to be a 2, but that might be wrong. Because all I'm thinking is, if this is a digit, it clearly can't be a 1, because that will just sum the first cell, which is a 1. It clearly can't be a 2, because that's going to mean that there is a region, either that region or that region, which means these 2 are digits, and we're summing those 2 digits, and because this is a digit, it will add up to more than 2. And it can't be a 3, because now it's absolutely broken. So this cell is in fact nothing, which means that cell's nothing. But now this square, if this wasn't... Yeah, it's like, because the x sum for a 2x sum has to be a 2. It just has to be a lone 2 being counted in this column, doesn't it? Anything else won't work, because there's not going to be double 1 in this column. So the 2, wherever the 2 lives, it must be counted, and only it must be counted, which means that cell is a 2. And that gives us our first little region look. So now we can bluify this. Should I bluify it? Or might it look better if it was greenified? I think I'll greenify it. So this is... now that means those cells must also be part of this region. So those have also got to be greenified. And now... Yeah, this is really elegant, isn't it? I like this so far because it's not monstrously difficult, at least not yet. The 22, certainly not compared. I started the video last night, this Slitherlink thing. I started it at about, I think it was 5 to 11 at night, because I thought it's a Slitherlink. I mean, it might take half an hour, it might even take 45 minutes because it's Phistomefel, but it probably won't go much longer than that. Well, yeah, I didn't get to bed till just before 1 in the morning. It was absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen in this video. Now, if this cell is not in a region, then the first digit in this direction is a 2, which would mean this cell would have to be a 20 to make the 22 work. Oh no, not even that would work, because the 2 would be counting... Oh, this is so confusing. The 2 would be counting those 2 cells, and they definitely can't add to 22 if this is the first digit that is seen, because they would both be blank. So that must complete our green region, and we have greenified. We've been very eco-friendly today by opening up with green. A patch of green surrounded by a coal field, look. Now, how can I... That girl standing there, my attention fix on Roman or on Russian or on Spanish politics. Now I'm going to remember the rest of that. But here's a travelled man who knows what he talks about, and there's a politician who's both read and thought, and maybe what they say is true of war and war's alarms, but oh that I was young again and held her in my arms. Yep, these are the things that bob into my head as I solve Sudoku. Now, what was I thinking about before I got so rudely interrupted by Yates? I was thinking about... Well... I was thinking about this greenified region in the coal, wasn't I? But I've just noticed that my coal field has got bigger. That has to be... And that has to be... I can't fit 3 by 3 regions into 1 cell thingies, so those are both not in. Oh, hang on. Right. Okay, so the 0 clue is now resolved, because if this is any positive number bigger than 1, it's going to have a positive count, because these cells are going to start to be counted in the x sum, so that must be 1. Right, now, what should we do next? We shall have a look at 40 clue. That's summing a lot. That's telling us there are a lot of digits in this row. Yes, it's telling us there are. Aha, right. Yeah. So what this is not, this row, is just one other 3 by 3 region along with this one, because that would imply we could make 6 cells add up to 40, and we can't, because that would imply, and this is because of the secret. Now the secret is something I only tell my very favourite people, but if you're watching this video, of course you're one of those people. And the secret is that in any Sudoku puzzle, in fact, I can't really do it for this puzzle, because in this puzzle it's not the case that rows, columns and boxes sum to 45, because there might only be 2 boxes in a row. But let's just talk about the numbers 1 to 9 and what they add up to. The numbers 1 to 9 add up to 45, and that is the secret. So if there was only 2 boxes in row 2, these 6 cells would imply that there were 3 missing digits, and the minimum those digits could be that would be missing from this row would be a 1, 2 and a 3, and 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, and 45 minus 6 is 39, which is not 40. So there must be 2 more boxes in this row. Now, if that was a box, or the start of a box, or the middle of a box, and that was a box, that would be possible. But the only other arrangement of boxes that's possible is those 3 and those 3. And that means that the middle sections of these must be included in boxes. So that must be a box, and that must be in a box. Now these are both too close to the edge for the boxes to sort of only go upwards, so that must be in a box, and that must be in a box. And that feels like progress, at least chromatic progress, if nothing else. Now, the other thing that's worrying me is about this 40 clue, is that this 40 clue can never count this cell, can it? Or is that wrong? Hang on. If you have an XSUM number... No. Yeah, because the XSUM number is not counting from itself, is it? So I was just thinking, if that's a 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7, 8, 9 is picking up this cell, but that's wrong. That's not what the rules say. The rules say that you count the 9 cells from the clue side of the grid. Let me just double check that. Clues outside the grid, the sum of any digits in the first X cells from the direction of the clue. Yeah, so this 9 is including this cell, and therefore it only gets as far as that one, is it? 3, 6, 3, 6, 9. Yes. So even if you have the highest clue possible at the start of this sequence on the right, you still only get to this number. So this number... Oh, this is really clever. I see what's happening here. Right. So this number is never counted in the 40 total. But we still got a question to answer, which is this number the only number that's not counted in the 40 total, or could there be some other numbers as well? Well, what there cannot be is 3 numbers not counted in the 40 total for the reasons we just discussed. If it was 3 numbers not counted, they would be 1, 2, and 3 minimum, and this should only be 39. So it's either 1 number not counted, which would be this one, or it's 2 numbers not counted, which would be these 2. Now, if it's these 2 not counted, these must sum to 5, and this would have to be a 3. And that breaks the 22 clue now, because the 22 clue is only summing those 3. And that would mean that has to be a 17, and it's not a 17, because even in this strange puzzle, that's not possible. So, this must be the only non-counted digit in this direction, so it's a 5. That means that everything up to including this from this direction is counted, and that means, and this is the 9th cell, so there must be a 9. I was going to say there has to be a 9 here, but that might be wrong. Maybe the 9 can still go there. Let me just think about this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, no, it can be either, can't it? Because if this is the 9 and it's like that, it's still counting all those cells, because we just start at the start here from the count perspective. Right, okay. So I don't know where the 9 goes. Oh, but the 22 clue is now counting 5 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, right, and that tells us, well, it tells us the orientation of this one. Because if this blue one was there, then this would not be accounted, this would have no digit in it. And therefore this would have to be a 15, which doesn't work. So the blue one must come to there, which tells us that it looks like this. And now these 2 squares have to add up to 15 to make 22 in 5, because this is not counted. And they don't include a 9, so that's a 7, 8 pair. This is beautiful. It's ridiculously clever. Right. So what does that mean? The answer is I don't know. I've done the 0 clue. I've done the 22 clue. I've not looked at the 10 clue. But the 10 clue... can the 10... Right, if there's nothing in there, if these are not blue, that doesn't work. Because even though these could all be orange, the only one of these three cells that can be counted in an X sum starting from this side is this one. This is the 9th cell, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, this is the 9th cell, and you can't put a 10 in it, so that doesn't work. You'd need to count this one, and even if you put the biggest number you can here, you're only going to count this cell, even if you put 9 here. So there must be a digit in one of those three cells, and once there's one digit, there are 3 digits. So actually we've built our blue region. Look, it's got to look like that. Oh, I know what I'll be able to do. Yes, I can. Look, Sven's adapted the pen tool, and Sven did this specially so that we could have a go at the Slitherlink, the Phistomefel Slitherlink. So you can look, you can go along the edge. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. So now I've built my blue region. Is that helpful? So right, okay, so that cell is probably restricted because that cell has to contribute to a 10 total, and separately in this direction it's got to make a 17 total. So what? Right, yeah, okay, that digit has to be a highish number because if it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's saying that this 10 clue is made up of summing the first 4 cells in the row which don't have digits in. So it's at least a 6 then. It can't be a 5 or it's only counting itself. So it's at least a 6. So if it's a 6, that's a 4. Because it's summing those two. Now if it's a 7, is that possible? If it's a 7, it's summing these 3, so this would have to be a 1, 2 pair. That might be possible. If it's an 8, it's not 8, because if it's summing 8, it's definitely summing those 3 cells, and these can't be both 1s. So it is 6 or 7, which means this square is a 1, 2, or a 4. If it's 7, this is a 1 or a 2. If it's 6, this is a 4. We don't know whether this is included in the sum. So that puts pressure on the 17 a bit, look, because we've got to have 2 quite high digits here. Oh, we're summing loads down this column. We're summing at least those 6 cells. So that can't be, yeah, that can't be a new region. Because if it's a new region, you're going to have a region like this, and this 6 is going to be summing 6 different digits, and the triangular number for 6 is 21, which is higher than 17. This is really, I love this. This is so interesting. So now that cell is black, and now, can we do that? No. Ooh. Yeah, we can do it again. How could this one be a real number? Because again, even if this is minimumed, we're counting up 5 cells, but we've got 6 plus 7 minimum as the first 2 cells. So that would mean those 3 cells had to add up to only 4, which is not possible. So this one is also blackened. Now I don't think we can repeat that trick again. If that's a 6 and we're counting those, no we can't, because we can make those 2 add up to 4. So if that's 6, that's 7 or 8. So we've either got 13 here, and that could be a 4, or it could be a 3 with a 1 beneath it. Or it's 6, 8, which is 14, and then we've got to go, oh no, then we can just go 3 here, or 2, 1 beneath it. If it's 7, you've got 8, 7, 8. Ah, right, that doesn't work. So this is not 7. Because if this is 7, this has to be 8. And now we've got an interesting thing about this cell here, which has to be a 2 because it's the least it can be. And now we've completed our total of 17, and everything looks fine and dandy with the world until you look at row 1. And once you avoid the coal field, this 7 here is telling we have to sum those 3 digits to make 10. So this has to be a 1-2 pair, but it can't be. The 2's gone in the box, and that doesn't work. So this is 6, which means this is a 4 to make 10. Now, so now we're summing these 6 cells. I would love to know if this is included in a region or not. I'm not sure that I do know this, do I? I think probably the best we can do is to label the options for this cell. So let's have a go at that. We've got, if this is 6, this is 7. Either, well then this can't be 4 anymore. So this would have to be a duo adding up to 4, and this would have to be the 1, so this would be a 3. So option 1 is this is a 3. If this is 6, 8 on the other hand, we need 3 more. So again, this could just be a 3. Or we get a 1-2 pair, so this would be a 2, and this would be a 1 down here. So this is 2 or 3, which is not good enough, is it? So we're going to have to think about something else. But I'm far from sure now where to look for the next deduction. I've used the 40 clue, really. Oh, what about that 0 clue? Can I do something with that? Oh, it feels sort of weird. I'm not sure. If that's in, if that's part of orange, this would have to be a 1. That seems to be okay, actually. Because it would need to it need to make sure it only counts this cell in the column. Okay, wow. Sorry about this. I'm not having any flashes of inspiration at all as to where I'm meant to look. That is a bit disconcerting. I don't really like the look of the bottom cells of this grid. We don't know anything. 32 here. The problem with 32 here is that obviously we've got to be summing more than one box, but we might only be summing. Oh, no, okay, maybe I'm wrong about my thought process there. I was just thinking we might only be summing 2 boxes of the Sudoku, like this one and this one. But of course, from this one's perspective, we can't actually sum all those, because even if we put a 9 early on as the first digit seen from this direction, we're only going to be able to count as far as here, and you can't make only 4 cells add up to 32 in the same column of a Sudoku, because 9, 8, 7 and 6 add to 30. So this column does have, it has 3 boxes in it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I think all we can do there is to label those 2 as having to contain, each of these is in a region. Actually, I will label that just in case it helps us later. I don't know where to look at all. We can. Oh, can I do Sudoku? Whenever you get stuck, always do try and do Sudoku in these puzzles. There's a 4, 6 here which can't go there, look. So in this row, there must be a 4, 6 over there somewhere. And they can't be in the first position because we know that we need to get to a count of 40. So there's a 4 and a 6 in these positions. Oh, and that's probably it. That's probably it. Now that surely can't be a 4. Yeah, that's really clever. That's really clever. Yeah, this is it. I just didn't understand this at all until just now. But no, I tell you what the way to think about this is. This is a 1-3 pair by Sudoku. That's the way to think about it. Because these two digits here see a 2, 5, 7, 8 triple and a 4, 6 in the box. No, that's not enough digits. That's not enough digits. Hang on, what digit have I missed out here? 9. Oh, I know they're not 9 because I know there's a 9 over there. Yeah, that's fine. So this is 1-3 only. And if it's 1-3 only, well, yeah, this is the corollary of saying we've found a 4, 6, 9 triple over here. But the really exciting thing about this is for this cell, which can't be a 1. Now, if it can't be a 1, it simply cannot be a digit, because we're going to be summing up digits that sum to something. So this cell is blackened, and that fixes, at least partly, the orange position, look. So now these squares have got to be not... Ah, no. 1-3 means that's a 2. And that's... Oh, hang on, what does that do for my 17? So my 17 now is only at 8. It can only get to 16 in this box. So that means this digit is a real digit. So that is a new region. Wow, okay. And it might join to this, but at least that is definitely forced. So now we can pen that in. Yes, okay. And now, what's this digit, I suppose, is the question. Because if we're at 8, if this is a 7, that's got to be a 2 to make the column add up to the right number. And that would repeat the 2 in the column, so that must be 8. And that must be 1, and that must be 7. And now look, we know that this is a 9 in the first position to make the 40 clue work. We know this is a 4, 6 pair here. We know these squares are 5s, 7s, and oh no, they're not 5, 7, and 8 at all. They're 5, 7, and 9. There's already an 8 in the box. We know that. What else do we know? Anything? I don't know. So the 17 is now done. This square can't be in. We can't fit a 3 by 3 into that position, so that becomes black. Let's ring this orange region. And well, surely that can't be a 9 as the first digit that's seen from the 15 clue, because that's going to be adding up to a lot more than 15. So that would suggest we need to put stuff in up here. So this digit has got to be... Now the 9 is going to get counted, isn't it? Because if this is... Oh dear. I think I've broken this. How can I make this work? I've got no options for this cell. This can't be a 1 and it can't be a 2, because 2 plus 9 last time I checked was not 15. And it can't be a 3, because then this will also... Oh no, 3... Oh no, it can't be... Oh, I thought 3, 1, 2 was going to work, but it's not. No, it can't be a 3, because then I'm only adding those 3 digits, and that will have to repeat the 3. 4, it can't be, there's a 4 in the box. And anyway, that would then require that to be a 2, which it can't be. And 5 is far too large. Well, it's not necessarily too large if these are black, but then that would require that to be a 1, and that doesn't work either. So nothing works. Oh, 6. Oh no, 6 gets trumped twice by that 6 and the 6 in the box. And also that this can't be a 0. So something's wrong. Oh, okay, so does that mean that's actually is the first? Right, well, hang on, maybe that's what I've got to do. Maybe this is the first digit. Oh, yeah, okay, so I suppose if there's just no more... If there's just no more regions in this column, I might only be adding up. Yeah, that could work actually. Sorry, I was misunderstanding this. So I've proved this is not orange because we just looked at that. So that implies those are orange. Now we can obviously see that orange is summing up these two cells as well as itself because this is a 9. Now, what does that mean? So that means one possibility is that these add to 6. And that would require a 4, 5 here and a 1, 2 here. The other possibility is that there is an awful lot of blank real estate in this column. And then we just pick up one more digit down here, and these 3 digits here add up to 6, being a 1, 2, 3 triple. That is also possible, and would give us the start, and in fact would give us a region in the bottom right of the grid, because this would be the only possible cell that could be counted, given these have to be counted. So whatever the correct orientation of this column is, these cells cannot be regions, because even if this one is a region, then that one's going to be a region too, and the count of 9 is going to be consuming that, and that. And 4 cells plus a 9 is at least 19. Well, the problem with that is it's not really done anything. Oh, does that affect the 0 clue now? No, the 0 clue is getting easier. The 0 clue is getting easier because the further down here we go, the higher the number that it first sees can be and not break itself. So the 0 clue, now this square can be a 3 or higher. No, it can't be a 3 or higher, 3 or lower. It can be a 3 or lower. 1 and 2 have to be in those cells in this orange box by Sudoku. Oh, right. Let's look at that the other way round. Where do 4 and 6 go in row 3? And they must go there somewhere because there are 9 coloured cells, and I think they have to go there. So that's a 4, 6 pair. This is a 3, 8, 9. So that means there's a 3 and an 8 in these 3 cells. And that doesn't do anything because we don't have any well, that can't be an 8. There we go. We can say that with certainty because 9 plus 8 is definitely bigger than 15. Oh, hang on a minute. So if this is not a 3, oh, I see, then it can be a 4 or a 5, and that can be a 1 or a 2. Okay, no, sorry, ignore me. Right, so what do we look at now? How do we do this? We shall argue that the 6 clue, is that somehow restricted? This, okay, so this is now got to be bigger than 2. It's actually quite interesting. It can't be 3. Yeah, it can't be 2, because then it's just summing those 2, and 2 is not equal to 6. And it can't be 3, because then it's just summing these 2, and that would have to be a 3, so that's not possible either. Now, if this is 4, that does... Oh, this is really weird. It's beautiful, actually. If that's a 4, because that's a new region, all 3 of those digits are summed, and even if these are 1 and 2, we're adding up to 7. So it doesn't work. So this in fact is a black digit. It can't be filled. And now I'm going to check this one. So if So now, to make the 6 work, this has got to be bigger than, it can't be 3, it's got to be at least 4. Now if it's 4, that can be 2, look. So that works now. If this is 5, it's summing those 3 and it's too big, so it's not 5, it's not 6. So the only way this is an actual digit if it's 4. But what if it's not an actual digit though? Is that still possible? If it's not an actual digit, this digit is getting higher again. So that now has to be I want to say 5 and 1. Is that what that looks like? So we've got 4 and 2 as an option here. If this is black, this square here now has to sum at least these 2 cells, which is a 5 count. So that could be a 5 and that could be a 1. Okay. And then that would be a region. No, actually maybe it would be that's the region. This is awkward. Okay. So where should we have a look now? Actually, I might look at this column, because I've noticed that if this is a region down here, the first digit here, it breaks straight away, because that can't be a 1 or a 2. And that means that this is at least a 3. So we'd be summing 3 digits that can't include 1 and 2. So 3, 4, 5 add up to 12, which is already too big. So this is not possible. It's not possible for this to be a digit, which means that those 3 cells are black. Which means that this 11, does that mean that has to... Oh no, it can't be a 3 now, because that would sum those up. So how does this work? So it's got to be bigger than 4, and it can't be 6, so it could be 5, and that would sum these 2 to 11, 5 and 6, which doesn't work. It can't be 6, so it would have to be 7. Oh, I see, so 7, 3, 1 works. Can it? And it can't be 9, can it? No, because that's going to add that one and those 2, which is too big. Good grief. So this column is fixed. It's a 7, 3, 1 triple. And that doesn't do anything, of course. Well, it was just interesting to know it, but it doesn't do anything. Right. Right, that can't be 3 anymore. And it can't be 1 or 2. So that's a black square, isn't it? Just thinking about the 0 clue, in order for this to be a digit, it needs to be a 1, 2 or a 3 to keep the count down. That's beautiful, so that's a black digit, which means both of those are black digits because we can't fit 3 by 3 in here anymore. And that takes all the pressure off this digit because this is not seeing anything through the medium Sudoku. So now this can be 1, 2, 3 or 4. But hang on, is this shifted down my 32 clue? Yes, so now because we've worked out that there's 2 more regions to come in this column, this must be red and this must be red. And these are obviously different regions. So it might be getting more likely that purple and red are the same. Oh, actually, hang on a moment. Can we do something with the maths of this column? So this column, we're summing some stuff up. We don't know what it is exactly yet, but we're summing up to 32. But all 9 digits appear in column, whatever column this is, column 7. All 9 digits are here. So that means we must leave out cells that sum to 13. Now we know those top 2 are left out of the sum because these are from this one's perspective, even if this is as big as it can be, it's picking up this one only. But it's never picking up those two. But those two themselves cannot add up to 13, even if we make them as big as we can. 9 and 3 is only 12. So this one is not picked up either. So we're at least... So we can't have a 9 in the first position down here now. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. So we've worked out now that these three are not included in the 32 sum. But what's the minimum I can make those three add up to? Well, it would be a 5, a 7 and a 1, which add up to the 13 that we're looking for. So we can't make these add up to any more. So these are, well, this is a 1, is what we're learning. That's 1, that's 3, and this is a 5, 7 pair, and this is a 9. And now, whatever the first digit is down here, which I guess it is in one of those two cells, yeah, it could be it can't be 5 or 7, it can't be 9, but it needs to see at least 6 cells, so it's a 6 or an 8. But I don't think we know which. If that's a 6, then that fixes the regions like that. That couldn't be the first cell if it was a 6. This could be the first cell if it was an 8, because then it would be able to pick up all of those. Okay. Well, we did get something out of that. We got this 5, 7 pair, and we got the 1. Is that doing something that I don't understand? The answer is... don't know. No, is that affecting the 6 clue? Maybe. Yes, maybe. I looked at whether this could be a digit, and I think I worked out it could be if this was a 4, and it would be a 4 here and a 2 here. But then we looked at whether this could be a digit, and we said, yes, that's possible, but only if it's a 5 with a 1 here, and that no longer works. And if it's anything else, it has to be at least no, anything else is broken because it's higher than, it's at least a 6, and it's adding up all of these 3 digits, because once you make this a digit, you make all 3 of those digits, and that's too big then. Yeah, oh, I see. Yeah, this is great. And what you can't do is sort of say, oh, well, I'll start over here then. I'll just make all of this black, and I'll start trying to construct the 6th clue from this side, because you need this digit to be counted, and this digit is already in the 8th column, so it has to be at least an 8, and then it's obviously greater than 6 on the count. So there does need to be a digit earlier on this column, and therefore we've worked out, I think it has to be here. This puzzle is very clever. That's a 4, that's a 6, and that means right, this is great. This is now a region, so that becomes a region, and that means this purple gets pushed over here because it can't join red anymore. We don't know whether it goes there or there though. This now deserves its own colour because it's definitely, now we've sort of got this one, I feel it deserves it. Anyway, that's got to be black, that's got to be black, can't fit 3x3s, that's got to be black, that's got to be black. Now, and that's okay. The 0 clue is not broken with the 2 here because it's just summing those 2 up, so that works. Okay. So our next challenge maybe to understand whether there needs to be a region here for the 14 clue. If there's not a region there, if that's all blackened in, we've got to make 14 out of these 3. This would have to be an 8. That would work mathematically, 8 plus 2 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, but it doesn't work from the number of cells you need. This is the 9th. That's really clever. So if that's 8, it's only summing those 2 from the x sum, and 8 plus 2 is not equal to 10. So it doesn't work. So that means those 3 are not, they're not dark squares, which means these, we've got to put a region in here. It's got to be 3 cells wide, so that creates a region. And we'll make the colour of that region, oh, I don't know actually, maybe orange. We've got 2 orange regions, that's fixing our purple in position. And now we've got to think about this. So what exactly does this look like? This first digit obviously is not 1 or 2. It could be 3 actually. 3 is probably what it is. 3 is not 4. Oh, I see. No, it can be 5 and 6 as well. Maybe it can even be 7. 7 would be counting all the way to there. No, 7 doesn't work actually. 7 doesn't work for a cute reason, which is that these 3 cells would have to add up to 7 to make 14, and the 2 and the 4 would be necessary in that 3 cell sum. So that doesn't work. So this is 3, 5 or 6 then. But the problem with 5 and 6 is they absolutely can work, because these digits just don't, there's nothing in them. So they it just doesn't contribute to the count. So if that's 3, these 2 have to add up to 11 without using 2, 9, 3, 8 or 4, 7. So they'd be 5 and 6. So that would be in that order. 3, 5, 6 is one possibility. If this is 5, these have to add up to 9 without being, no, there's still 2 options, I think. I think we can do 1, 8 or 3, 6 then. And if that's 6, these have to add up to 8 without using 2, 6, but they could be 3, 5 or 1, 7. Oh, bobbins. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's spend a moment or two outlining our regions to make me feel better about myself. There we go. Oh, I tell you what I've done that's a bit of a shank and I don't like the look of. I've got a red region touching an orange region, which, ooh, no, I don't like that at all. So I'm going to change this one to red. I'm going to change this one to green. There we go. That's much more beautiful. 2, 3. I've got 6. I've got to put 3 more regions into the. Okay, well that's quite interesting. Yes. Okay, well, this is good. This is a good question. I've got to put 3 more regions in it. There are 9 regions, aren't there? Yes, there are 9 regions. That was the start of the instructions. It was a while since I read them. But there are 9 regions in the puzzle. I've only found 6 of them. I've got to put 3 more in. I can only put 1 down there. So I've got to put 2 in this region. But this region is 6 cells wide. So that means I must use those 3 cells. Otherwise there isn't enough space. So those can turn red. Now that means I also need the... no, does it force that? Yeah, it does. It forces this one. I've got to put another region in here. And obviously the only place it can therefore go without creating problems is there. So we actually get 2 more regions for the price of 1. I can ring these, ring these, ring these, ring these. I've got to put 1 more region in the bottom left of the grid. I'm going to bluify this one. Those cells have got to be in that region. I can't see a way of making a 3 by 3 region if I don't include those. Okay, well that feels like we've made some progress there. But Sudoku 1 has to be in one of those 2 cells. I've got to put a 1. I can place a 1 in box 4. I'm going to call that box 4. Oh dear, dear, dear. Has that broken this? No. Well, not really. A bit. That can't be 3 now because it's 3 plus 1 requires this to be a 10, so that's not 3. So if this is 5, 6, this needs to be an 8. If that's 6, it would need to be a 7. No. Okay, sorry, that doesn't seem to resolve it either. Right, let's go around the clues and see what we've used and what we haven't used. We have, yes, I have used that 17. The 0 is done. Oh, the 15. Ah, right, so the 15 is, it is including a cell from down here. Yes, so those 3 cells have to be a 1, 2, 3 triple. And that one, therefore, is a 3. By necessity, it sees 1 and 2 in its row. So that means we get a 1, 2 pair down here. And we get a 3 here. So in this row, we've not placed 5s, 7s, and 8s. This 6 clue is done. 25. So 25, but we don't yet know whether this is sort of a full row of digits. Otherwise, we would know that there had to be 20, a 20 count in the sort of outside the x sum total. So this 25, it must be adding digits from at least 2 boxes. And this digit's in the count, so this is at least a 4. In fact, probably is a 4. Look, by Sudoku, there is a 4 in one of these 2 cells. That's, I tell you, that's the other thing about this. There could be more Sudoku to do from all these boxes. Like, yeah, look at that. There's a 4 and a 9 here that have to go in those cells just by Sudoku. That actually fixes that 6 and fixes that 4. So now, in this box, I'm going to put a 6 over here. Okay. Is that helpful? The answer is no. Okay. I am stuck. Okay, let's keep going around the grid then. 18 here. So 18 is, can't have a 4 or a 6. We're looking at this cell, aren't we? So this cell is at least a 3, because 2 plus 16 won't work. And then it could be a 5. Well, we'd be adding that one as well. So we'd be adding 4 cells up to get to 18. It can't be a 6. Now, could it be a 7, really? No, 7 is adding 6 cells. Triangle number 6 is 21, which is too high. So this is 3 or 5. This one, then. Now, this one is not 5 or 7. Oh, but it has to, right, we have to get to at least this cell in the count, don't we? And that is the 7th cell in this column. We have to get to at least here, so that, so this is 8. It can no longer, I think I looked at this before, and we said it could have been a 6, but only if this was shifted down here, which it's not. So I think that has to be 8, because I've got to get to at least this cell. And 6 won't get me that high. 6 will only get me there. Yeah. So this can't be 9, because that would clip this cell, and then these 2 cells wouldn't add up to 13. So this is 8. Does that do something? Yeah, actually it does. It does do something. Because now I can ask where 2, 4 goes in this column, and it's not there, and it's not here for some reason, so it must be there. So that's a 2, 4 pair. Now that tells me what these digits are. These digits have got to be the balance that have not yet appeared, 3, 6, and 9 in this column. One thing that's incredibly impressive about this puzzle is the way it's shifting in terms of, you know, sometimes you have to think about the x sum, sometimes you have to think about the geometry, and sometimes you actually have to do Sudoku, and you're never quite sure what the, you know, the sort of correct thing to do next is going to be. So now, yeah, look at Sudoku here. I've got a 6 looking down here and a 3 and a 9, and I've not put any of those digits in the yellow box. So that's got to be 3, 6, 9, which means these cells have got to be 1, 5 and 7, I think. Which means these cells are now known. They have got to be the other digits, so they are 2, a 6 and an 8, I think. Seems to be what's missing, doesn't it? So 2, 6, 8, which means these cells are known. So these cells become 4, 9 and 5. And that's very annoying. That just knocks 9 out of here. So all of that work has done nothing. Oh no. I don't believe it. And that is why I fail. Oh. Okay, botheration. Botheration. 9 now in this column is a bit restricted. It's got to be in one of those two, which might affect that's ability to be 5. Actually, that's probably not 5 anymore. 5 plus 9 is already 14. So you'd have to have... Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. Okay, right, this is really cool. This square here, I thought it was going to be disproved. I thought the fact there was a 9 in the count was going to disprove 5 from here, because it would get too high. But actually it disproves 3 from here. If that's 3, it's summing those 3 digits, one of which is a 9. So to get to the right number, we're going to have to put a 6 in the count, and there's already a 6 in the column. So that doesn't work. So this is a 5. And therefore we're summing up to that digit, including a 9, so we know we've got a 1-3 pair as well as the 9. Well, that can't be a 3, so that's a 1. And there's a 3-9 pair here, which means that's not a 1. It means one of these two squares is a 5, I think. I feel like we should know which one. And we've got loads of digits in this column now. So, oh, that's not 5, look. So what do we need? We need a 2, a 7 and an 8. So that's just... Oh, so the question to ask is, where does 2 go in this column? I don't know what number column this is. Column 9. Where does 2 go in column 9? It only goes there. So that gives us a 1 here. Ah, and so that resolves my 15x sum now. And I get a 2 down here, which gives me a 2 and a 4. Thank you very much. That is very welcome. And this square's got to be a 7 or an 8 to complete this column. And this square now is not a 1 or a 2. It is... it's the same as this digit, so it's a 5 or a 7, I think. Yeah, whatever that is has to find a home in this box, so it must be there. Those two are the same. So now... what do we know about the world? I don't know. But we are doing quite well now. We can probably get more information about this digit, which can't be 1, 2, 3, 5. It can be 4. That's probably what it's going to be. It's 4, 6, 7 or 9. No, it's not 9. So it's 4, 6 or 7 by Sudoku. Now, if it is 4, it's only summing those 3 with a 4 and a 5 in the sum. So we'd need another 16, which would be a 7-9 pair, which would be very nice, because that would be 9, that would be 7, and that would resolve that thing at the top. If it's 6, Then we are summing lots of things, aren't we? We're summing those 3 digits, 19, plus these 3 digits, which would have to be a 1, 2, 3 triple. And you can't put 2 into any of them, so that doesn't work. Let me just double check that, because that is very close to working. 6, 5, 19. We need 6. 1 here, 3 here. This would have to be a 2. It doesn't work. Wow. Okay, so that's not 6. And 7's going to get worse, isn't it? Because that's still adding these up. But now I need these to add up to 5, which is simply ridiculous. So that is 4, a long way round of proving it. And these have to be a 7, 9 pair. So that's 9. That's 7. That's 7. That's 5. That's 8. That's 7. That's 5. And that's 8, therefore. So these two are a 5, 7 pair to complete this box. Oh, look, we can't. Ah, we can remove 9 from there. This is a 3, 6 pair. These squares have got to be 1, 1, 6. Ah, well, one of them's an 8, so that's an 8. This is a 1, 6 pair. Right, so now we've done a lot of the clues in the bottom. Oh no, I was about to say we haven't done the 11. We have absolutely done the 11. So we're left, I think, with the 16 and the 18 to finish off every other ambiguity. And we're at 1 hour 60, so I'm at 66 minutes. Mere bagatelle compared to yesterday. How that's flown past. That really has flown past. Now, how do we do this then? So, oh, that's a 1 by Sudoku. Let's not neglect Sudoku at this late stage. So if this is the first digit in the 16, it has to be one of these, well, the missing digits, which are 3, 2, 3, which is 2 is impossible, 3 or 6. 6 would be summing at least 5 digits. No, and it couldn't include 1, 2, and 4, so that would be absolutely impossible. So if this is in, this is a 3. Unfortunately, that seems totally reasonable, doesn't it? If this is a 3. Now, the other slightly troubling thing, though, is I've already got 1, 2, and 4 in this column. So, wherever the first digit is down here, if it's not 3, let's just say it's 5. Oh, it can't. Well, it could be 5 if it was here. Then we're summing up several digits that don't include 1, 2, and 4. But I suppose we could go down for 5. So if this was a 5 here, which is the earliest that 5 could be, we could go 5, 3, and then these 2 digits are counting, but they'd have to be at least 6 and 7. It's blowing the total up wide open. So I think there does have to be a 3 down here, but the problem is I don't know where it goes. It probably goes here, but I'm not certain. So maybe we've got to look at the 18 somehow. So the 18, wherever it starts, oh, it could, or maybe the idea is that takes away the possibility of this being a 3. That's an awkward thought. So that would force this to be at least a 4. Although it could also be 5. Oh, okay, now I'm getting stuck. I'm not quite sure how to resolve this, to be honest. Is there some Sudoku or something we can do to try and make this easier to understand? That's not 8. Let's see. works. I don't know. I don't know is the short answer. There is a 3, look, in one of those cells. Let's take advantage of that. That means that's not a 3, which means this is a 3. So has that done something for the world? The answer is, I don't know. Can we keep going with that somehow? 5, 7 pair here, 6, 6, 9 pair here. Do we know the order of this? I don't think so. Although again, I'm saying that hesitantly because I'm far from sure. Oh, that's interesting. I've just noticed something about the bottom of the grid that might help. Though I've got a 3 domino there and a 3 domino there. So I can't actually put any more 3s in those cells, because if I did, if I had a 3 in any of those cells, that would be a third 3 in these 2 rows of the grid, which will break the rules of Sudoku, even this strange Sudoku. So that means that, oh, so if I can prove the 16 clue is a 3, starts with a 3, then I would know it has to go here, and that would fix at least part of this shape, which would be cool. So that's the question, is do I know that this clue coming up here has to start with a 3? Now if it doesn't, if it did start with a 5, say, the 5 could not be here. And if it started with a 6, we'd be adding up all of those cells. Where this is going to blow the total so wide open because we can't put 1s, 2s and 4s in the sum. So we're going to get to an enormous total if this is a 6. I think if it's a 5, if this is a 5, we still get to an enormous total, because those 4 digits there would be 5, 3, 6 and 7 as a minimum. That's way more than 16. So no, you can't do this with anything like that. You can't, it's just impossible, because it's basically because the 1, 2 and 4 have gone away as being options. So that means we do need a 3 as the x sum for this 16, and we've now worked out it can't go in those cells. So it must go at the bottom. That means these 2 squares turn blue. Oh, and now, right, so now those 2 cells add up to 13, and they're not 4, 9. So these are either 6, 7 or 5, 8. And they're not 6, 7 because there's a 6 domino here and a 6 domino there. That is so beautiful. So this is a 5, 8 domino. And that means that square is not an 8. That's so disappointing. I cannot tell you how disappointing that is. I thought that was for sure going to give me something better. Right, those cells are now blackened, I suppose. So we've very nearly sort of worked out what's going on in the world, but still, that's not a 3. Oh, I don't believe it. Right, let's check the rest of this column then, because we've effectively got 6 digits in it. We need, no, we need 3, 6 and 9, is it, into these squares? No, it's not 3. What am I talking about? Oh, no, hang on. 3, 5, 8 is resolving this. That is a 9. Sorry, I'm just not doing my correct Sudoku. So now these 2 squares have to be a 4 and a... No, I can't scan this at all. 6 and 7. 6, that's beautiful. I'm going to double check that because I've got that wrong so many times. Yeah, 6 and 7 are missing from these cells. And now that's fixing that one as an 8. And that must push that one down to being a 5. That fixes the 8 and the 3 above it. Right, so now what have we learned? The answer is probably some things. These squares have now got to be 2, 3, 4, 9. And we know that the 3s are not there. Oh, so yeah, this being a 3 forces the 3's position. So 2, 4, 9, triple. somehow not resolved. Yeah, hang on. 6 domino here, 6 domino here. So we can remove 6 from these two squares. So that forces that to be a 2, and that to be an 8, and that to be a 6. That forces this not to be a 2 anymore. Can we do that again somehow? Nearly. There's 7s. No, we've already done the 7 in this box. Oh, Jesper, what have you done here? I know I still not looked at the 18. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Yeah, and what we know that this square here is a 2 or a 6, don't we? Because we've not put 2 or 6 in this row. So if I could, oh no. So I still don't know what way round this goes. Right, let's look at the 18 then. So does the 18 start here or here is the question. It now can't start with a 3. So it does start with, what does it start with? 4? It can't start with 5 actually. Or 6. 6s are there. So it's either starting with 4 or it's starting with something silly like 7, which is far too large. It can't start with 7, surely. If it started with 7, it would include those 3 digits as 5 and 8, and that's already more than 18. So it doesn't start with 7. So it starts with 4 or 5. It doesn't start with 5 if it's there. Oh, I feel like I'm doing this in the most inefficient way it's possible to do anything. Why can't... Oh, look, there's an 8 here. Maybe that helps. So that's a 5, that's an 8. That's a 5, that's a 7. Okay. Oh, that does help, you know, because now the first digit here can't be 5 either. So it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. It can be 4, it can't be 5. It can't be 6 because of the dominoes. It can't be 7 or 8, and it clearly can't be 9. Wow. So it is 4. There is a 4 in one of those two positions. So if the 4 is here, oh, this would be a 9. Because this would be black. And that's possibly true. That's possibly okay. If the 4 is here, that's it. If the 4 is here, this becomes a 9. It clashes with the 4, 5, 9 triple, and that doesn't work. So that tells us the orientation of the final blue thing, which is there. We can ring this. We can blacken these. We must have a 9 here. That 9 is fixing stuff over here. 9, 4, 2, 9 here, 6 here, 6, 7. This is beautiful. 7, 5. Whoops. Let's make sure we don't have a ricket. That looks like it's got to be a 4 to me. And therefore this is a 5, this is a 9. That's just absolutely beautiful. Now, have we resolved what's going on at the bottom now? This 9 is helpful. 9 and 3 go in, 3 and 6 go in, 6 and 1 go in. Yes. So this has got to be a 1 and a 7. And the 1 up here tells us the order. So this is 2, 6, and the 2 there, 6, 2. I think that might be the correct solution. Let me just, I've just noticed I haven't ringed that like that. Now, how on earth do we check this? How on earth? I think I might have to just, let's click tick. Okay, well, Sven's thing says it's correct, but I don't know how Sven's thing knows that that's correct. That would be really interesting to know, actually, whether the software has sort of checked whether there is a 1 to 9 in each row and column. Well, there isn't a 1 to 9 in each column. Or maybe it's checking there's no duplicates or something. I don't know. But I'm scanning this. I haven't seen a mistake yet. And I think I did it logically. It was absolutely fantastic puzzle. It's a very long video. I apologise for that. But it did include some poetry, which took up at least a minute of it. And thanks so much for watching if you stuck with me this long. Jesper, very much take a big bow. I think we should all be genuflecting before you, frankly, because that is a real worldy Fabulous, fabulous construction. Not easy. But funnily enough, just a lot of logic. You know, there was never a devastatingly hard step. It was just all very, very beautiful. You just needed to find it all. I'd be interested to see the comments as to what I've missed. You'll no doubt let me know. I do enjoy them though, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.